All right, we're going live.
Yay.
You're live. Yay.
Yes. Well done.
We are live. Yay. Here, I'm going to switch the view. Oh, no, sorry. Let's do it this way. We'll do speaker, but I'm going to do it. You're live. I'm going to pin myself. There we go. Okay.
Well done.
We are live. Yay. Here, I'm going to switch the view. There's so many different ways that I'm talking. Who knows what's happening here? I know all the voices. Sorry. Hello, everyone. Welcome. I'm just trying to figure out the logistics. There's so many different ways that I'm talking. Who knows what's happening here? I know all the voices. Sorry. Hello, everyone. Welcome. I'm trying to figure out the logistics.
You want to mute YouTube.
Okay. Now can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Sorry. We're having some logistics here, but welcome. Okay. Well, this is the live. I'm Cathleena Hailley. For those who don't know me, I think everybody here probably knows who I am. And, I'm decided to do this every week with my beautiful co-host here, Rayania. Say hello, Rayania.
Hi, everyone. So excited to be here with all of you.
Yay. So what I want to do actually is just kind of bring the energy in. Here I'm here in Tampa, Florida, and we've had a bit of a tropical storm. So, I had some power outage this morning, so I wasn't sure whether I'd be here live, but everything's great now. I mean, it's still a little stormy out there, but it's actually not too bad here. So anyway, in terms of the energy, though, I want to bring it in. So I downloaded just a title today called Origins. And so we'll see where this wants to take us. But right now, I just want to kind of bring in the energy. So for those who are here with us, if you want to join in, just close your eyes for a minute and we'll just kind of bring in this energy here. And I'm just going to align the field. Just going to expand the light. Just bringing in, that's really good. I was just bringing in some nice cohesiveness. One of the biggest reasons that I'm here, well, I guess two reasons. One is to just show up as the energy that I am, as my I am presence, which carries the 0 point for all frequencies. And I actually carry the original blueprint of the human genome and a lot of the geometries for the original seeding of this planet. So just being in this energetic field actually is expanding and creating some changes within your own physical body and your own energetic field. And so we're here as one. That's part of why I'm here. The other piece is to create community and community with a synergy of our energetic field as the law of one. So with that, interesting enough, as came Origins. And I feel like that the first thing that wants to come forward is, we are galactic royalty. I mean, we have our origins of our human existence on what part of the physical planet that we're from, and what we believe is our hereditary aspects of self, but we have also a multidimensional self, which is our galactic heritage. And I was asking this question prior to coming on because I figured that people are going to ask a lot of questions. And it's interesting because I don't personally have a tremendous amount of knowledge of the actual different types of galactic beings. But as I was sort of delving into it, I was like, oh, I think I have a little bit more knowledge than I think I do. So I thought we have 21 different galactic beings that we that make up us as the human, but they were saying 23. Now, if you asked me all 23, I'm not sure who they are, but I think we have some knowledge. Many of us know, like the Pleiadians, Arcturians, Andromedans, there's Lyran, there's a Hydra, there's of course the Draco, Anunnaki, Reptilian, and then there's many others. I don't know all the different ones, but why this was coming forward is because a couple things. One is that because of the false matrix that's here, and for those that might be listening that don't really know what that is, we as humanity, as humans, we have not been consciously creating our own reality, and we do consciously create. And if you go back to, I think, the first video that I did in these particular series, I'm talking about ourselves as conscious creators and who we are. And we literally create from our thought and our emotion. And we haven't been doing that. We've been guided to create for another consciousness, and that's what's created what we call the false matrix. And the major frequencies that we as humanity have been guided to play out are enslavement, imprisonment, and sacrifice. So we're playing these out within ourselves. We're enslaving ourselves within our body, within our mind. We're imprisoning ourselves within our limits, beliefs, and thoughts, and then we are sacrificing ourselves. So we sacrifice, health for money and many different things. And so these are things that are playing out in our energetics. And the galactic aspects of this seems to be what's coming forward today, at least to talk about, because, the different collectives and these galactic beings, they came to this Earth experience and they crossed their DNA. And so we've done a lot of genetic manipulations and things like that within our original human template and human genome. And so, all these different galactics that came, they all have different characteristics, energetics to their field, let's just say even temperament of who they are. And so, we in our daily lives can be influenced by that. And so this is kind of this idea of hereditary that may be a very different perspective than what we've thought, that we have this hereditary aspect of what galactic influence is that we are made up of. And so like we've heard of the reptilian brain, we all have the reptilian brain. So it's the reptilian consciousness, and that particular consciousness has a lot to do with the false matrix and aspects of that. And so we have this within our physical brain, but that doesn't mean that we align with the agenda of what this particular consciousness is involved with, unless we choose to. And that's really what I think is trying to come through here, is that, when you get to know yourself, when you take the time to realize your own sovereignty, and sovereignty simply means self-governed internally, that I am that, my self as source, my energetic signature, who I am. When I decide, when I show up as myself, then I make a decision on how I feel, how I want to show up. And that decision, I guess what's coming forward is that because of the galactic history, the various different consciousnesses, the various different collectives that we're made up of, they have energetic agendas and things that are sending messages, so to speak, via your DNA, the messaging within your body. And you not necessarily knowing this, not knowing who you really are, don't realize that this messaging is communicating with you and communicating with you internally, and it can be sort of puppeting you around without you knowing it, unless you take the time to really get to know yourself and make conscious decisions about your own choices, about what you want. And I'm bringing this, I just want you to know if this is sounding a little bit confusing, because I can feel some people that are kind of like, what? I'm really bringing this in many multidimensional ways, because one of the things about how I operate is that I'm not just arbitrarily talking to you. I'm in the energetic field, and there's a lot going on. So we have to have this faith, trust, and surrender that this particular piece is coming forward for a much bigger reason. So I know I just dumped a whole lot on you, and if there's any questions or anything before I go just a little bit more into what kind of wants to come through today. So hi, Rayania, you have anything? I don't know. I don't really see any questions. I don't really see. I think people are just sort of hanging out.
Yeah, I think everybody is quiet. Anyone got questions? Well,
any comments or questions or anything from anyone? Let's see.
Not at the moment. I think people are very curious of what is coming through. And I know, you picked people's interest when you talk about 23 species. And I don't mean that we need to dive into that, but perhaps, because I know a lot of people identify with Pleiadians because they are very present in a lot of light workers' messages. And I know Pleiadians, a lot of them are coming here to be teachers. And so I don't know if there's anything you feel you want to share about specifically any particular.
Yeah, I'm not necessarily feeling that any particular collective that wants to come through. I feel like what really wants to be spoken about is this awareness that you are much more than your DNA and the physical body, and more about, I think, doing your own research. It's about starting to just have an awareness. That's what I feel like is planting the seed today. It's like, okay, let's have this sort of new awareness, maybe not new to everybody, that, we, in this idea of hereditary, perhaps there is an influence that is communicating with you in ways that you're not noticing. And so what does that really mean? Because I can really feel like people are sort of like, what is this saying? Let's just use the reptilian aspect, because the reptilian brain. So if the reptilian agenda were to say, have you not realized that you are source consciousness, that you are that you're a creator being, that you're sovereign, that you're able to really fully be who you are, and if that is in your physical brain, it's your part of your body, then there can be like a subliminal dialoguing to yourself that is telling you, this isn't true, or I can't do this, or any of those types of things. I can feel that those that are here are so thinking this energetic, and I want to move this energy into the heart space, because this is where you'll be able to take this in a bit more, because you're struggling. I can feel that those that are here are struggling to get this through the mind And I want to really bring this into the heart. And why this is coming forward is it's another way of just getting to know yourself. I think why this came forward at all is because, this idea of sovereignty, of really recognizing that I'm self-governed and having this idea of freedom. It's like we all want to be free, but we are free. But what is keeping us from truly being free, from really letting go, in the depths of yourself? I can even feel with myself where sometimes I've had dialogues that will say, well, no, I can't just say that here because it needs to be said in this setting and this. Well, then I'm not really allowing myself to just be free, to just be in the present moment, to let go, to allow. That's just not happening. So there's just levels of this idea of what truly freedom is. And we just don't even realize that there is dialoguing going on within our mind, within our vehicle, this body, that it doesn't necessarily have the highest and best for us in this life, in our lifetime, or in the idea of us getting to know ourselves and letting go. I can feel when I start to bring something like that, I can feel everybody goes in their mind like, what is that? What does that mean? I think what wants to try to come through, and I feel like what I really want to do is I want to step into the energy again and actually expand this a little bit more, because I'm definitely feeling the energetics wanting to go so much through the mind. So let me just expand the energy here a little bit for those that are here and that are listening, so that we can try to bring this into a different field. So let's just close our eyes for a second. And I want to expand this. And of course, for anybody at any, what will be a future time listening to this, because everything that I'm speaking is in the 0 point. So whenever you listen, it will be in the now moment. I just want to expand this energy here. I just wanted everyone just to take some deep breaths and just drop into your heart, into the present moment. This information is wanting to be brought to you in just brought to you in a place of a knowing, because you do know what I'm talking about. And really what's wanting to be brought forward is to just take a different notice of your body, of yourself. It's to awaken more your sixth sense, all of your telepathic abilities, your ability to sense and know energy and energetics around you, and what influences are actually taking place. And we have the human influence that we're aware of to some degree, but everything is energy and frequency. And so we're just planting the seed that this energy and frequency that's around you, that is you, that's influencing you, has a much greater reach than you might realize. And this is just to be curious about, because it will give you an opportunity to know really who you are, why you're here, why you connect to the things you do and the things you don't. It's all about discovering this in the 0 point. But I'm bringing you some of the energetics of things that aren't really talked about. One piece about this that also wanted to come through is that in this idea of freedom and sovereignty, you know, we often maybe don't say something because we don't want to hurt somebody's feelings, or we're uncertain, or we're afraid of the judgment or anything like that. But the thing is that because we're energy and frequency, the unspoken is also speaking, and often speaking very loudly to you, more so than the spoken sometimes. And so I'm just trying to wake up these levels of energy and frequency that are playing out within your energetic field. And for those that have struggling in this, trying to grab this through the mind, the key to this is let go. Don't try to figure this out through the mind. Just simply let go and allow for your heart to open, and just have the experience of this energetics that's coming forward. You'll have opportunity to re-listen to this many times to bring in some of the information, but this feels like important. Okay. I'm seeing Shako says, why does Cathleena call us this royalty? Okay, so we're considered galactic royalty because we are made up of so many different collectives. And we are creators when we are creator beings. So that's why we're considered galactic royalty. We have tremendous abilities because of all the different collectives. This is the other piece that's coming forward. All the different collectives that we are made up of have unique abilities as to what they do or can't do, or things like that, you know. And if you try to ask me that, I couldn't tell you right at this very moment. But there are a lot of different energetic signatures connected to these galactics. And as we are awakening more of who we are, and we're aligning to the authentic aspect of that, and, you know, the false matrix wants you to align to a controlled aspect of these different collectives, but our authentic self allows us to align to the authentic aspect of those. So like the Pleiadians are very light, they're very they have, their hearts are very open and centered, and, you know, there's a certain fluidity to the energetics there. The Arcturians, they're also very light and very, very profound, but they have a lot of geometry to their energetics, which I have a lot of the Arcturian, you know, geometry to that. The Andromedans are, they're very, very wise, kind of expanded energetic beings. So the geometries with them are very, very intricate, and they have a lot of knowledge of more of the entire galactic systems and so on. Not that the Arcturians and the Pleiadians don't as well, but they're just different collectives. And when you feel them, I'm bringing, as I'm speaking this, I'm bringing the energetics of what they feel like. So you'll be able to have that engage in your system. You may not know all of what's going on, but there's a lot happening as I'm speaking about different collectives that are coming in, and that I'm experiencing them. So this is just kind of an introduction aspect, really, of just saying that, you know, this physical body is really made up of the energetics of these collectives and these beings, and that's really you. And so as you drop into your heart space, into the present moment, really letting go, and you begin to experience, you're actually aligning with those energetics, and you will get familiar with who they are and who you are. And this is what's wanting to open up. This is not unique to me. And that's why this isn't so much about teaching you this, although I will say research it. And I do know that galactic astrology is starting to really come up. I have a really good friend of mine that's studying that, and I'm very excited about that. I want to have my own galactic astrology chart done because I think it's very fascinating. And I think this is what next levels of where we're going, to have this really awareness of who we are from a multidimensional level. You know, I think it's going to really help us in our synergistic connection with all and what we're creating as what we're calling the new earth, but really is what it's all meant to be. So this feels like all the pieces that are really come forward for what I want to share, because I feel like the energy really expanded. So I do see there's a lot of chatter here. So let's see if there's any questions. Rayana, if you want to.
Yeah, yes, we have a few questions, and I think we'll start with the last one. I have a hard time with having no thoughts that are truly our own. If they essentially create a vibration, thus creating our reality, one might ask, how is that being free?
Yeah. Well, that's exactly it. That's an interesting thing, because that was part of what had come through as well, is that there are times when your thoughts they're not your own, because literally through an energetic field, they can be thrown into your mind. And there's a lot of things that we've ingested over time, as humanity, with a lot of things that are going on in the world that allow for that to be magnified. And so yes, I mean, I literally had one time in the privacy of my home, I'm by myself, there was nothing on, and suddenly I'm hearing, be aggressive, be aggressive. And that's like a cheer. And I'm like, what? And I thought, well, that's interesting. But it was so blatant that I was like, wow, okay, that just like got injected into my head. And so I was very aware of it. And I was like, wow, okay, that's really interesting. And that does happen quite a bit. And it happens from, energetics doing that, but it also happens at any time a person thinks about another person, you're in their energetic field. And so there can be things sent, and it's not to get crazy about it and be all worried about what I'm doing, but it's being aware that, we're all energy and frequency. That's why I talked about the unspoken can be very loud. So what do I do with that? Well, I get to know myself, and I get to know my own thoughts. And then I can say, no, I'm not interested in that. That's not my thought. This is my thought, and begin to redirect that. That's why I'm saying that there's just a lot of influences that are creating that. So the key to this is dropping into that 0 point, into the present moment without judgment, and beginning to just notice, and take charge too. The other thing is take charge of your mind. You wouldn't let somebody come in your home and kick your dog or do whatever like that. So what am I letting in my mind? I'm not, you have to treat your mind like your house, so that you would do that. And you just have to start to notice, like, what am I just arbitrarily allowing? What am I doing? So it's like ownership.
Yes. I think Alicia has a question that actually sort of resonate with that. She said, I have felt an energy capable of coming through that I do not recognize at all in my human life. In simple conflicts, I feel an energy that is able to verbally destroy the person I am dialoguing. So I just observe it in the way, background, and would never act on it. Could that be galactic DNA?
I have felt energy capable of coming through that I do not recognize at all in my human life. Simply complex energy is able to. Well, I have to go into the energetics of that just a second here. Yeah, I feel like that's an aspect of self. I do feel like that, yes, that is like the galactic DNA aspect, but that's like that's an aspect of self that is connected to an energetic that doesn't have your highest and best. Why that occurs, because we've all been here for many times, or most all of us, and we've all played on both sides of the coin of this matrix of creating it and here to unwind it. So we've all been sort of perpetrator and perpetrated, so to speak. And so because those energetics have been part of our existence, there are tendencies that can play out in the field. That's also why we can be influenced. So we make an agreement in this lifetime to come here and show up as pure light and to show up here in my authenticity. But as I'm unwinding all the places that perhaps I've, contributed to any of these things going on, the genetics, so to speak, the energetics of that are still able to be influenced in this physical body because I haven't necessarily cleared that out. That's why it's about, getting to know myself and allowing my own self to make decisions. So in other words, say like on the side of the coin of helping to create the false matrix, then most likely I abuse power in some way. So what's going to happen in this lifetime is I'm not going to know what to do with power. I don't want to be too powerful, too weak, whatever. But because I have that in my energetic field of having perhaps abused power in some way, then, when I'm in my world, my day-to-day, depending on who I'm around, whatever energetics I brought in, whether I'm, it could be listening to TV, it could be anything that's aligned to that particular frequency. That's where that tendency can try to come in. And I don't want to get too complicated with this because I can feel where the energetics are going with this. But it really is that, because we've been participating in this whole thing for a long time, and there's just a lot of influence about what's right and wrong, good and bad, all these types of things. Those influences can they're in your energetics, in the DNA aspect of your being. And so that's what I'm saying, that yes, in that way, there can be galactic influence, but that galactic influence doesn't necessarily mean something outside of you. It is you in a previous lifetime as aspect of self. Because that's really what the galactic influence is that it's me. It's who I am. I am that, right? I am these different 23 collectives, that represent me.
Yeah, I really love that. So I got a question, so I know that we are now, through this energetics, you are supporting us to really feel into and expand it into awakening different galactic parts of ourselves. And so my understanding is that we actually have all this parallel of different or past lifetimes through different star systems. So we carry the lessons that we are here to clear, but also while we are clearing all this energetics, we also can access the gifts of different lifetime of this multidimensionality. Mm-hmm. Is that how it is?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That's why I'm bringing this, is to have this awareness that you are all of these different galactic groups, collectives. And the best way to, first of all, to know who you are, but then to have that full alignment as pure source, as law of one, as a reason to come here, is through this 0 point, which is what we talk about all the time. And that's really what, this whole thing is in know thyself. It's like know thyself, be in that 0 point, in this vehicle right here, as Cathleena here, having this experience, source consciousness, that I am having this experience in this body. But as I continue to be in the now moment and let go and open my heart, allow myself to feel and be curious and have these bits of awareness, like, okay, this curious, so what is it that I'm really feeling? And, where is this influence and what's really happening? I'm expanding your consciousness beyond the day-to-day moment. That's what I'm here to do. And that's what we're doing together, as an expansion of your consciousness in this awareness. So this is beyond the linear mind. But yeah, and even if you don't think you get it, you're getting it on different levels. And that's what's happening here.
Yeah, that feels very expensive. I so there's a so is the galactic DNA integrated into the physical DNA, or is it a separate system? Or how does the galactic DNA come in?
Yeah, it's all one and the same. I mean, it's all connected. Well, we have the carbon DNA of the physical body of whatever this lifetime that we brought in, but we are through our crystalline DNA actually, and we are that crystalline DNA. So when in the womb water of the mom is where, you know, we connect, where the crystalline DNA aligns with the carbon DNA, and that's where we connect in, and actually then connects in through the body. So it becomes both, but it's not as necessarily awakened. And that's really what we're becoming more and more in the crystalline body, is that awareness of who we really are, so that we're not in the density of the carbon DNA, which is really the false matrix, limits and limitations and judgments and so on and so on. And that's really all what I'm about, is about releasing all of that and helping you embody, you know, who you really are through that crystalline DNA. So hopefully that answered that. Yeah, there's a lot of energetics here. I don't know if there's any more questions.
Yeah, there's a question earlier, but I believe you answered that in the way that do we all come from the same original source that then split off into many races to experience itself?
Yes, of course, we all come from the original source, from God consciousness or source consciousness. Yeah, everything comes from source consciousness, because all things are all things. Yeah. Ooh, just a lot of energy here today.
Yeah, I think this brings up people's, my curiosity, and also probably wondering that how do we tap into that expanded sense of self, doing in the day to day, because when we are here together, it's easier, right?
Well, you know, I feel like that we're talking about some really big, expansive things. And I'm bringing in a lot of energetics with that as we're speaking about it. But I think why it's coming in at all is because where we are with humanity right now is in such this place of having the opportunity to really step into who we really are, you know, really becoming you know, it's so funny when as soon as I go into this, I feel like so much goes into the mind. It's like I want to move the energetics from the mind space, because what happens is when we go into the mind space, it's a very, very limited, you know, so I want to open it to the heart space and just keep allowing us to be in the heart space together. You know, so just taking deep breaths and allowing, because the heart space actually carries the all-knowing. You know, the mind is just like a computer, and it only carries what we put in it. So if we keep directing our consciousness through the mind to be listening and hearing, we're just sitting in this little limited. But if you allow yourself to be very, very present and just open your heart and actually be in the all, that is really answers the question that you're even asking there or talking about. It's like, that's how we in our day-to-day expand our consciousness, is through that, you know, through this mechanism of actually being and asking questions, you know, beginning to ask yourself, okay, what am I really feeling? What am I really doing? Am I free? Am I allowing myself to be free? And if I'm not, why am I not? What is the dialogue? What's going on here? like I said, for my own personal, as I delve into this myself and I say, how free am I, even just to be here right now and to be this free, just to be speaking and noticing where I can feel where, individuals are going in places where they may not understand or what's going on, and not having that internal dialogue with myself going, okay, well, what do I need to do? Or what, it's like, I'm letting that go, because that to me is not freedom. That to me would be me being in myself going, oh no, okay, what do I have to do? And it's like, I'm just letting that go and allowing for authenticity just to show up. That's really what this is. And, and I notice, like in myself, that there can be dialogue, internal dialogue of, what I'm supposed to do or should do, or things like that. And examples might be, I'm here speaking to you on YouTube and sharing this and bringing this, but I also teach, and I teach a lot of different classes, on my website. And so, there could be a dialogue that could be saying, well, no, you should hold this for teaching, or you should hold that. And to be honest, that dialogue is part of the false agenda, because that it all is saying, somehow I need to hold that back, or I need to be here. And it's like, what does that even mean? Then I'm not free. I'm not in the authenticity. So that's the releasing. That's the place of that galactic influence. That's that place of something that might've been in the past, where I just take a breath and I let go, and I have that faith, trust, and surrender about how things are coming forward, and just allowing, and this is what we're practicing doing. This is where we are in us as consciousness, as energy, as beings, just authentically speaking, authentically showing up in the present moment. This is what we're not doing. We spend a lot of time in our mind being concerned about how I should do and what I should do, and this way and that way, and all these kind of things. And the thing is, and I think I've said this before, it's kind of like, 99%, if not typically 100% of conversations is manipulation. And that is that I'm not just saying something, I'm trying to put something in you or take something from you. What's noticing, am I doing that? And why am I doing that? See, the difference in that and what is happening right now is I am authentically in the 0 point, just speaking. I'm just really not in any agenda, I mean, ideally, yes, am I bringing something that I feel like has value and is being spoken out? Absolutely. But I don't have an agenda of where it's going or how it's going or to who it's going. I'm simply just speaking it in the energetic field. And that's why I'm here. And so this is kind of the practice that we're asked to do, to wake up to, to simply recognize, am I holding back? Am I pushing? What's the agenda? What's going on? Is there something? And whose voice is that? And what's happening? In what way? And this is next levels of waking up, of who we really are.
Yeah, I really love it. I can feel my heart just like pulsating. And I just wanted to share, like, you mentioned freedom earlier, and that whole frequency of freedom and feeling free and being authentic. And one example that just came up, like when we engage in the group conversation, with friends, with colleagues, it's very, I feel it's so easy to be taken into a frequency, people talking about what's happening currently. And I feel it's such a practice to really come back to the heart, instead of the mind wants to judge, the mind wants to complain or commiserate, but then instead the practice is like, okay, I come back to my heart, ground myself being present here and now. And what am I experiencing? And what do I wish to experience? How do I wish to participate? Not the old me, but like the me from my heart, without manipulation, just really what wish to be expressed if I choose here to participate. Yeah.
I love that. And that's beautiful. And that's the name of the game right there. Exactly. Because we spend, I mean, so much time in our head. I remember for me that I could be in a circle of people that I knew super well. And we would say, we would start to go around the circle, and you would have to say your name and say something about yourself. And I would start to be so nervous, and I'd be like sweating bullets just even thinking about that. So that I couldn't concentrate. I wasn't present. And I thought, how interesting is this? It's like, I know these people, and yet I'm freaking out about this, talking about myself. And it was like this wake up of going, okay, what does that really mean? It means like, wow, for me to really express who I am, to say anything about me is like terrifying. Like, wow, isn't that interesting? This is my life. This is me. And yet I'm freaking out about it, and it was in the mind and in the mind space. And so, that was such a wake up. And I think many people could probably relate to that. That's that nervousness of just showing up, and it's so interesting that we're so guided to be afraid of that. But yet, what are we doing then? Because that's the heart space. It's like, and the way out of that, when I was in that circle, would be when I took a breath and just opened my heart. And I just was like, okay, well, I'm going to feel, I'm just going to let happen, let it roll. Whatever happens, happens. Say who I am. Right? Wow. I mean, why not?
Yeah, that is also the freedom.
That's where the freedom. Exactly.
Yeah. So I have a question that what is the 0 point in relationship to love?
Well, the 0 point is really love, is the frequency of love. I mean, the 0 point is the place of no thing and all possibilities. So it is the multidimensional self, but you are love. You are the frequency of love. And that's a hard one to quantify or speak about in a way, because we on this planet have so many definitions of what love is. But when to feel authentic love is really, you recognize it when you are in the 0 point, letting go and having that full awareness of self. You can, that's when you can really feel it, when you can really let go. And to me, it has the feeling of, like the little kid, because we're really all just like little kids on the playground, and we just don't recognize it. But it's that feeling of like it brand new, and there's nothing in the way, and you allow for the opening of the curiosity and the excitement and the exhilaration and the joy. That's love. And it's like, and it begins to just expand and connect out to all things. We're not even taught to do that. Even in the 0 point moment, we're taught to be in fear, like, oh, I'm in the unknown. It's just, that's all part of the false matrix, but the love frequency is that excitement, exhilaration. Allow yourself to be curious, explore.
Lord.
Have
Yeah,
fun.
I love that. I'm smiling. So we have two more questions, if we could. That is the ego energy made up of some different or an aspect of the galactic collectives?
Well, I think that the ego's purpose is really the you in the physical body that can direct you around, and so you don't walk out in front of a car, or you eat whatever, that sort of stuff. In its authenticity, I'd say it is the 0 point you, but depending on how that aspect of self is showing up, yes, it's definitely various different aspects of your galactic lineage, depending on how you're choosing to show up. And that's actually a great question, because if you think about what I was describing before about the reptilian mind, so to speak, and the opportunities you have of either being somebody who maybe was abused power, or not, that would be the difference of that if you were, as your ego self, having that particular aspect of your galactic history or lineage in a 0 point, then there would be no push or pull in terms of power. But if you did not have it at the 0 point, that's when you could be, really pushing your will or being pushed over by somebody, controlled by somebody, that's kind of an example of how that may show up in your reality.
Yeah. So Lighthearted is asking, what does it mean to be grounded? And yeah, what does it mean to be grounded? He knows, or she knows, it's important to do so.
Well, what it means to be grounded from my perspective is having an awareness that I am one with this earth, not on the earth. And I am allowing myself to breathe and to be very present within my physical body. So I got my feet on the floor, I'm looking out my eyes, and I'm opening my heart to full experience. I feel like why that's important, many reasons, but one that just came to mind, or to the awareness of the energy here, is because in this grounded awareness in that way, I can begin to have a much clearer understanding. I say understanding, so understanding of what is influencing me, because it's like I'm as I am in that grounded, centered 0 point space, I am my multidimensional self. I am one with all things. I am my pure source self. So as that, no other frequency can sustain itself in source except source. So all that is not me is going to be dissipating out, is going to show up. So I'm going to have an opportunity to start to notice what energies and frequencies are influencing me. So the more that I practice that, the more I will be aware of, like what's around me, because everything's energy and frequency, my clothes, my room, people, everything. So I will start to have an awareness of what I've been aligning to, what is connecting to me. And that is the practice, to get to know what have I, because that's what quantum entanglement is when I forget that I'm source consciousness, having this experience called Cathleena, and I become Cathleena instead. And it's like, if I become that, well, who have I become? And that's how I become aware of that, is by allowing myself to be in that grounded, centered 0 point. And then I can start to notice, like, oh, wow, wow, this is what my room feels like, or this is what my clothes feel like, or, I never noticed that I'm in this room that feels like I'm squished in. Wow. And it's my own space or something like that. And you think, well, why did I create it like that? Maybe I didn't. Maybe I've been influenced to something else. How about I create something that works for me? And this is again, it's like, and I don't want to get too complicated, but it can be quite vast in our awareness.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you. I always remember you said 0 point is where the infinite potentials and possibilities are, right?
It's the place of no thing and all possibilities. So yeah, it's really, it's literally where we are. It's where we live, really. It's who we are as source consciousness. We just don't recognize it. And it's in the heart space, because we're not guided as humanity to live in our heart. We're taught, be in the mind. Everything's about being in the mind. Even professions and everything's about being in the mind, not the heart. But we're recognizing the truth. So we're getting ready to close here, and what I'd like to do is just kind of bring the energy into a nice synergistic more. I'm not that we've done this beautiful expansion, but I'm feeling like I just want to expand a little bit more light, and love to all of you who have chosen to be here in this now moment and all that may listen to this later. So I'm just going to expand this energetic field and really do some beautiful grounding with Sophia Gaia. I'm just going to open up a nice toroidal field, as above is below, as below is above. So through your crown, connecting completely into Prime Creator and your root into Sophia Gaia. And we're going to move the energy from Sophia Gaia up through your central channel, out your crown to pure Prime Creator and back around to Sophia Gaia and back up again. In this beautiful connectedness of oneness. I'm just going to expand that toroidal field for you so that you have a greater awareness of this divine 0 point. Of the no thing and all possibilities. And I give you opportunity in this space, in this now moment, to just begin to dream of what you really desire in your life, in your world, in your body, in your space, and bring in joy, excitement, exhilaration, curiosity, so that we build this energy and this frequency of your creation as it will come into fruition for you as you continue to expand it in this beautiful 0 point energy. And so it is, and so it is, and so it is. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you, everyone. There's so much love that I have for all of you, and thank you for participating. We will be here again next week. I wasn't sure today as my internet was down for a while, but I'm happy to say it. Here we are. So any last comments or anything that anybody would like before we close out this today?
Yeah, I just,
You're welcome.
it's just so beautiful. I just really wanted to thank you, Cathleena. It's amazing.
Thank you. Thank you, Rayania, for being my teammate here. We're having fun. It's great.
I love it. I love our transmission. The first one, the second one, and I feel it just getting not as a comparison, but it just getting better in the sense it's even more expanded. Like each week it's expanded a bit more, and I can feel even more love.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, I feel the same. Yeah, it's a huge amount of energy. There's a lot of collectives that join in the party here for us. I haven't spoken much about that, but yes, there is a huge collective, as we call the One Source Collective. Actually is a big part of what shows up here. So beautiful. All right. Well, thank you. And we're going to sign off here. End the stream.
Bye, everyone.